Now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Everyone, welcome to today's session, and it is all about SAP S4HANA MM module. And our training will be on the latest server of SAP S4HANA, that is S4HANA 2020. So in this today's demo session, I will brief you about the course content, what are the topics which we are going to discuss, and it is from SAP MM functional consultant point of view. So that we will be discussing. So as we know, MM is one of the core modules of SAP, and it is used in the procurement department. So we will start our training with very basics of SAP. Like first, we will try to understand what is SAP, and then different business applications of SAP. Like we know, the latest business suite of SAP is SAP S4HANA, and before S4HANA, as still ECC is also available, but ECC will be obsolete soon mostly by 2028, right? And there are different other applications like SAP SCM, Ariba, CRM, and SRM. So there are a number of business applications, so that we will familiarize ourselves with these business applications as a introduction part. Then from consultant point of view, we should be aware of SAP system architecture. That's why the SAP system architecture is discussed in this topic, which is a technical aspect. So the technical aspects from functional point of view, we will be discussing. Like here we have technical architecture and landscape architecture. So after discussing about SAP business applications and the technical architecture, of course, then functional aspects we will be starting. From the functional aspects, we should have some clarity what is enterprise structure. So we will try to understand what is enterprise structure, because whenever company is implementing SAP different modules, right? And for every module there is an organizational structure. When organizational structures of all modules is combined, then it becomes the enterprise structure. So we will try to understand enterprise structure as a concept, and then of course MM organizational structure. So in MM organizational structure, so there are four main organizational elements of MM organizational structure. The highest organizational unit is plant, then storage locations are maintained in the plant, and in order to look after the procurement requirement, all right, for the plant, purchasing organization and purchasing group are there. So if you look at the enterprise structure, as you can see here, the top one, it belongs, these are the organizational elements related to FICO, and the left side, these are the organizational elements of materials management, and here bottom side is the organizational elements of sales and distribution. So in our training, we will be focusing on the MM module. So here, as you can see, it starts with plant, and all these organizational units, the highest organizational unit of MM, highest organizational unit of SD, they are assigned to the company code. That's why here also we can see in our MM organizational structure, plant is assigned to the company code, as well as the purchasing organization is assigned to the company code. So here in MM organizational structure, we will be discussing in detail about what is plant, right? For example, from different industry perspective, for example, like from manufacturing industry point of view, manufacturing facilities or the production facilities are considered as plant, and the location within the plant where the materials are stored, whether raw materials or finished product, that location is represented as storage location. So that we will be trying to understand the different terminologies there. Okay, from SAP point of view, because we will compare industry terminology and the SAP terminology, because when we are working as SAP consultants, we will be interacting with business users. Business users will have their own industry term. So we should be aware of industry term as well as SAP term. So that comparison also we will see. For example, like in industry, they have the procurement department, and in the procurement department they have purchase managers and purchase head and above who are actually negotiates with the suppliers and finalize the deal, and below manager like procurement officer and other people, they look after day-to-day procurement activities. So here in SAP, this is divided, is called as one the purchasing organization, and another one is purchasing group. So purchasing organization is nothing but the people who are responsible for negotiating with the suppliers, finalizing the terms and conditions with the supplier, and the purchasing groups are those people who look after day-to-day procurement activities. So this is what we will try to compare from industry point of view, right? So this is about the organizational structure. So after understanding organizational structure, so here we can see that the module can be divided into 4 parts, like planning, purchasing, inventory management, and invoice verification. So let's briefly discuss about each of these parts of module, right? So module can be divided into 4 parts: planning, purchasing, inventory management, and invoice verification. So here, in order to use, because first of all, after designing the organizational structure, after defining the organizational units and elements, we required, of course, master data. So first, we will try to understand what is master data in general in SAP, and master data in module. Like here in we have master data like material master, right? So in order whatever materials or products which we buy or sell, right? So in SAP, we should have the record of all those materials and products available with us, and that is represented as a material master record in SAP. Okay, so that is the material master record, and in material master record, from SAP point of view, from point of view, we will see what is the role of functional consultant to configure material master, right? to configure the number ranges, to configure the screens and all, and different views which are maintained in the material master. So that we will be discussing in detail in our material master record. After material master record, so here in SAP S4HANA, a new functionality called business partner is introduced. Like unlike ECC, in ECC, there are different transactions to maintain vendor master record, right? Or the supplier details. But in SAP S4HANA, the business partner is used. So business partner is an entity with which our company deals, right? For example, like from a procurement point of view, we will be buying from different suppliers. So suppliers are considered as business partner. Similarly, sales department will be dealing with customers. So the customers are considered as business partner. Banks are dealing with tax authorities, sorry, the accounts department dealing with tax authorities, banks and all. So those are also called considered as business partner. So this is the business partner functionality which is used to create vendor master from point of view. And here based on, for example, like for vendor we have a business partner role, for customer different business partner role. So different business partner roles here we have. So unlike ECC where we use multiple uh, transactions to create vendor master record. For example, let me show you. So here, this is our remote desktop through which we will be accessing our. So this is our yeah. So here, as you can see, you will have access to all these servers, including ECC server and S4HANA, and from S4HANA three releases: 1610, 1909, 2020. So here, what I was trying to show you is that in ECC, for to maintain a vendor master record, we have just give me a minute. Let me log in. Right. So as we know in ECC, in order to create a vendor master record in materials management, purchasing, master data, and as you can see here under vendor, and again with purchasing view, with central, different, and even right. So like MK01 we have, XK01 we have, then again for change MK02, 03. So different transactions. So if I click here, it is taking us to the vendor, create vendor. But in S4 HANA, this has been replaced with the business partner. So if I try to create a business partner, the vendor master in S4 HANA, so here, as you can see under vendor, even these transactions are still listed here in right. But when we try to execute, you will see that it will taking us to the new transaction business partner. This is the screen. The only difference what we can see here is based on whether our business partner is a supplier for us, or a business partner is a customer for us, or a business partner is a bank or tax authorities for us. So based on that one, the role is selected, right? The role is selected. For example, as you can see here, FLVN00 and FLVN01. So these two are the roles for suppliers, and then these two are the roles for the customer. So the so business, what is business partner and all. So all that we will be discussing in detail. So here in the business partner. So and there are some there are other master data in MM module like purchase info record, because in order to purchase material from supplier, whatever price is negotiated with the supplier, by using the purchase info record, we can maintain pricing. So, and whenever purchasing documents are created, the system will automatically determine the pricing, right? So from that point of view, purchase info record is as a master data which is used. And similarly, the source list. So the source list is to list out all valid suppliers, uh, to list out all the valid suppliers, or to block the suppliers for time being, for a duration. So, and other master data we will be discussing here. After understanding master data, we will discuss about, yeah, we will discuss about procurement documents, the documents related to procurement, right? So the purchasing documents. So if we look at the procure to pay cycle, so this is the main cycle or business process here in we have, right? So in order to make procure to pay cycle more efficient, and to bring the automation in it, we have the purchasing documents, where these documents are configured or designed as per the business requirement. So like the purchasing documents like purchase requisition, request for quotation, purchase order, contract, and scheduling agreements. And in these documents, some objects like item categories, account assignment, so that we will be trying to understand their significance. So let's discuss about the procure to pay cycle. So here, as you can see, let's briefly discuss about the procure to pay cycle. So the procure to pay cycle starts from purchase requisition. So as we know, the procurement department is responsible for planning the procurement. So the procurement department gets the requirement from other departments, right? For example, if we take the manufacturing industry point of view, let's say we are working for automobile company, right? So in order to make assume Tata Motors. So in order to make cars for the Tata Motors, the production department plans that in order to make 100 cars, as per the bill of material, what raw materials, what semi-finished products, or what components are required, components and assemblies are required. So in the form of purchase requisition, they submit their requirements, right? So based on the purchase requisition which is submitted to the procurement department, so the procurement department analyze it, and if the supplier is not available, let's assume, if the supplier is not available for that particular component or assembly, or if they would like to explore the new market, new supplier market, then they create a request for quotation. And this request for quotation, they submit or share with different suitable suppliers. And for the supplier, it becomes the inquiry. For the suppliers, it becomes the inquiry. So based on the inquiry, they submit the quotation. So the quotation. So in the quotation, they specify how much they are going to charge, right? All those things. And after receiving the quotations from different suppliers, the vendor evaluation is done. So normally they carry out techno-commercial evaluation finalizing the before finalizing the sorry, just give me a minute. I'm just so we are here. Yeah, we are discussing about this procure to pay cycle, right? So right, so here vendor evaluation is carried out, and vendors are shortlisted. So all the short after evaluation, a contract is established with the supplier, right? If it is for long term, if it is for short term, direct purchase or the purchase order can be directly issued to the supplier. Again, it depends, right? And if the purchase order is issued with reference to a contract, then it is called as a release order. Okay, it is same as purchase order, but if it is with reference to the existing contract, then it becomes a release order. So there is a change in terminology that we need to understand. Okay, and then this purchase order is submitted, and and with reference to this purchase order, they have the sales order, our supplier, right? And they do the delivery based on the delivery date of the purchase order, right? And then here we see the good receipt. So here, while doing the good receipt, it is compared with the purchase order. With reference to with purchase order, the good receipt is being done. So as we have seen that the MM module can be divided into three parts, like planning, then procurement, inventory management, and invoice verification. So all those phases we can see here, right? So after doing the good receipt, of course, once the supplier delivers goods as per the purchase order, the supplier will bill. So in the form of commercial invoice, they submit the invoice. So this invoice must be verified, because what happened, let's say we ordered for 100 pieces, and actually the supplier delivered only 90 pieces. So our company is liable to pay only for 90 pieces, not for 100. So in that case, but sometime by mistake, the supplier can bill us for 100 pieces. So here, by using the invoice verification here, this is step, we will verify whether whatever we receive with reference to the purchase order, it is matching with the commercial invoice of the supplier or not. All right. So that is done in the invoice verification. And then finally the finance. So here the accounts payable department of our company, right? So they look after and then finally pay to the supplier. So this is about the procure to pay cycle that we will be discussing in detail. So then we have different flows. We will try to understand different business processes, like here what is the role of in make to order, make to stock, right? And right, so as you can see here, this also illustrates the same flow. And here we can see the so the link between, or the integration between SD, PP, and MM, right? So here, so this is what we have just discussed, the procure to pay cycle here we have discussed, right? So after this one, right? So once the supplier delivers goods, the inventory management starts, right? So in our procure to pay cycle, when we receive the goods from the supplier with reference to the purchase order, inventory management starts. So in inventory management, so as you can see here, as soon as with reference to the purchase order, as soon as the supplier delivers it, we do the good receipt. So from here, the inventory management starts. So so here, during the inventory management, we will see how the inventory is managed by using MMI and IM. Okay, and we will also briefly discuss how the inventory is managed by using WM and EWM. Okay, so for example, the storage locations which are MMIM managed, for them the way the inventory is managed is different from WM managed storage location. So that we will be discussing. So inventory management, it starts from good receipt. So when we do the good receipt here, the material document is created in the foreground, and the accounting document is created in the background. So what are these material documents and accounting documents, document concept that we will be discussing here. So as you can see, that when we do the good receipt here, then finally the material is stored in the uh, in the storage location. Okay, and in the inventory management, we will try to understand different terms, and we will do the transactions like what is stock transfer and transfer posting. So stock transfer is nothing but moving inventory from plant to plant, or from one storage location to another storage location, and the transfer posting is nothing but changing the stock type, right? For example, quality to unrestricted, or from consignment to own warehouse, or material to material. So that we will be discussing under stock transfer. So here in inventory management, we will try to understand the effects of good receipt and good posting, right? So for example, when we do the good receipt, material document is created, accounting document is created. In accounting document, accounting entries are there, so where the GL accounts are updated, right? So that we will be discussing. Similarly, when we do the good issue, what is the effect of good issue? Similar effect we will have. Okay, and there also material document and accounting documents are created. So that we will be discussing in inventory management. So after receiving inventory, of course, we need to pay to suppliers, right? So in order to pay to suppliers, we have to do the invoice verification. So as you can see, the invoice verification here, in order to do the invoice verification, it is here we have it is verified with the reference to the material document which was created during the good receipt and the purchase order, right? So as a result of invoice verification, here we have invoice document and accounting document, right? So that we will be discussing in detail about invoice verification. And when it comes to the planning here, we have materials requirement planning and consumption based planning. So that we will try to understand, right? And in module, right, because we deal when we are creating the purchasing document, the system should be proposing the correct pricing, whatever we negotiated with the supplier, which we maintain in purchase info record or in the contract. The system should be automatically proposing those pricing, right? So because it is not feasible for the staff, procurement staff, to remember the pricing, right? So the system should be proposing it automatically, the correct pricing, whatever we maintain. So that we will be discussing in the pricing procedure in right, for the purchasing documents, right? So in the under the topic pricing procedure, by using the condition technique, right? So by using condition technique, the pricing, how the process pricing procedure works. So similarly, release strategy. As we know that in industries, we use the term approval, right? So similarly, the purchasing documents are approved by the concerned authorities or the people, right? Like approval for purchase requisition, approval for purchase order, or the contract. So here in SAP, it is called as release strategy, where the documents are released by the authorized people, right? So here in the release strategy, we will see how the documents are released and controlled. And the next one is output determination. So whenever we are dealing with our suppliers or within the company, whenever the transactions are executed or documents are created, for example, if you look at our procure to pay cycle, where we are creating the purchase order, for example. So this purchase order must, which is a business document, this purchase order must be shared with the supplier. So how this purchase order is shared with the supplier? So that we will be discussing in detail in the output determination. Like for example, if we have the interface set up with our supplier, then through EDI we can exchange the business documents with the supplier. If there is no EDI setup, then we can email, we can attach the PDF of the purchase order and send email, right? Or we can fax it or print it. So that we will be discussing output determination, right? So as you can see, the purchasing. So whenever we are creating the purchasing document, so how we want system to share this information, right? So like the system should take the printout, or it should be shared with the supplier through EDI or email. So that we will be discussing under output determination. So after understanding another important aspect, like integration with other modules, right? So integration with other modules that we will be discussing here. So the integration of MM with PP, integration of MM with SD, integration of MM with FICO, and integration of MM with WM or EWM. So that will be discussed here. And then we will try to understand the SAP data and SAP database tables related to MM, and what are the delta changes from database point of view that we will be discussing here in during our training. So here, right, so let me, yeah, so this is the whatever briefly I have discussed. So here in these topics that we will be discussing all these aspects related to uh, just give me a minute. Right, I think there are some questions. Let me answer. Right. Let me answer some of the questions which are being asked. Yeah. Right. Yeah, you can unmute yourself, or otherwise you can type your question in the chat box. Right now, I don't see any question here. Right. Right. So now, yeah, we were discussing about. Just give a minute. Questions. Yeah, I see some 3 questions. Can you highlight pricing improvements in S4HANA?
Yeah,
Right.
hello. Yeah,
Yes.
now I am unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
See, I was muted all the time. So I was, when you talked about pricing, I wanted to ask what are the improvements in the pricing in S4HANA?
Right. So when it comes to the pricing aspect, right? So there is no change compared to ECC. There is no change compared to ECC. So the main delta changes which we see in S4HANA compared to ECC is our change in material length, because in ECC we have 18 characters. Now in S4HANA has been changed to 40 characters. Similarly, in ECC we have vendor master separate transactions we have, but instead of using those XK01, FK01, we have BP transaction which we are going to use. And similarly, there are some delta changes in the database tables. All right. So these are, but from the pricing point of view, there is no significant change in from pricing point of view.
The table KO NV has become obsolete.
All right. Yeah. So so here, as you can see, there are some changes in the database tables from the inventory point of
when
view.
we attend interview, right? We should be talking about the HANA stuff, but you are mostly talking about the ECC stuff here.
No, as you see, so whatever difference delta changes we will have, of course, that we will be covering, and this training is all about S4HANA. Okay. So,
but I see 80-90% you are talking about ECC stuff only here.
So if there is no change, then we cannot do anything, right? There is no change in pricing procedure. There is no change in invoice verification, inventory management. So there are changes in the, wherever there is a change, that is called as delta changes. So that we will be discussing, because if you see, there is no change in release strategy, there is no change in pricing procedure, there is no change in organizational data, master data. There is no changes. There are no changes. That's why you will see similarity between ECC and S4HANA.
No, if the table KO NV has become obsolete, that's a significant change, right?
So as you can see here, in S4HANA, what they have done is they have made this history tables, index tables, aggregate tables obsolete, right? And instead of that one, they have introduced a new table, doc, right? So where all that information is available.
Okay. What about pricing?
The table related to pricing, you want to say?
Yes, yes.
No change in table related to pricing.
See, the table KO NV has been replaced by PRCD underscore elements.
So because most of when it comes to the database table changes, so these are the significant changes we have, and they are related.
Can
to
you zoom that table, please?
Sure. This table you want to see, right?
Yes.
Just give me a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you zoomed, but you are at 70% zoom right now. Okay, aggregate MSTQ, MSTE, MSTB, MSSA, MKPF, MSEG. Okay, so I was looking at that pricing. PRO NV has become obsolete and replaced by PRCD underscore elements. That's what I was looking for.
So I think in this table I have not included, but whatever the delta changes and all, of course, as a part of S4HANA, we will be discussing that one.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So since you know ECC, and that's why you can compare it, but the significant changes are like BP, right, and all those which I have highlighted. You don't see significant changes in most of the things. Okay, and of course the Fiori app, which is another user interface which is available, that is another change we can see here. So right. So here
my focus in attending the interview is to crack the interview in S4HANA. So if you are too much of stuff of ECC is there, which I already know, see, I'm looking for more of the HANA side of the things, because in the interview, that's not the expectation.
Right.
That's
so
what in the project also.
Yeah, if you are already from ECC, then you would like to learn only the delta changes. That is your requirement, right? So, yeah,
Not
that is your.
just the delta, but focus should be like S4HANA.
Yeah, of course. As I said, this is training is all about the
Yeah.
S4HANA. This is
Okay.
S4HANA 2020, which we are using.
Okay.
But if you know, the functionalities like 80% functionalities are same, so we cannot do. So we need to go with that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So this we will be covering in
Yeah.
total. Just give me a minute.
Sorry. I worked in some couple of HANA projects, but the thing is, I don't have time to prepare for this interview. So I thought of sitting through a course and quickly get some refresher stuff on the HANA side.
Right, right. So because we are practicing on HANA, so you will definitely get exposure to it.
Okay, okay, that's good.
Yeah, yeah. Right. I think Mr. Mark will have exercises, of course, because first of all, what we will be doing, we will understand the concept business. We will understand the business process, and then we run the transactions, and then the configuration, right? So of course, we will have the you know, practicing on S4HANA. So because you know, yeah, just to answer question from Mr. Mark, we'll have exercises. Yes, we will be using S4HANA system. First, we will try to understand business process, and then as per business requirement, how we can configure, and then the transactions, right? And when it comes to the exercises, yes, as an assignment, I will be assigning some, you know, the for practices. Right. So here, what else? Yeah. So in total, 30 sessions, this training will be completed, and you will be provided books from SAP Press, right? So books like this from SAP Press, HANA book, and we have our own customized study materials. So that will also be helpful to understand the module. So these are the books which will be provided during the training. And when it comes to the server access and all, right, so here you will get access to the same server what we have here. Same number of servers you will get access, so that you will get exposure to ECC, and we will be using S4HANA 2020. This is the one we have. All right. So, any question? Any question from anyone? Any more question? All right. So as you can see,
there is in HANA we have a flexible workflow, right? That is a new concept, right? In S4HANA.
Yes, yes. So a flexible workflow, but that is more into technical. So that is the reason why it is not included in this one, because this training is all about functional aspect.
Process, for the purchase order approval process, we will be having that flexible workflows, right?
Yes, yes. So because we will be using the release strategy, and when it comes to the workflow, of course, which is a technical aspect, right? So if feasible, we will briefly discuss, but not in detail.
Okay.
Yeah, if feasible, we will be discussing. Yeah, when it comes to, yeah, another question from will be end-to-end process all T codes? Yes, of course. So if you look at the document which we are sharing with our participants, In the documents, we have provided comprehensive information related to all. For example, so this is our book which we are going to provide. Let me show you. So here you will, yeah, you can see the complete the database table details, transactions, and all that information we have included in our books. For example, what are the different transactions which are used for the object, what are the database tables, right? All that information is a part of the book, and what are the transactions in different business processes. All that is included. So these are our customized study material which we will be sharing with our participants. Right, as you can see here, all commonly used transactions related to material master, then what are the configurations which are carried out related to material master from consultant point of view, right? And all those details are provided.
So you will be covering this material ledger also as well, right?
Yeah, material ledger is now mandatory in S4HANA. Unlike in ECC, it was optional, right? So yes, it is.
Okay.
So yeah, so all the comprehensive details as a study material, you will get even, you know, what the data type, number of characters for that particular object, all that details are being shared. For example, you see here, just for source list, you see what are the commonly, what are the transactions for source list, right? And then configuration steps related to the source list. It's a very user-friendly document which we have prepared. So even if people are not from SAP, they can easily understand. The press books are not that user-friendly, and they are more than 900 pages, and they are so we don't get comprehensive meaning. In one book, we will like, you know, like I have provided what are the transactions, configurations, database tables, everything. This like this, the information is not available in SAP press books. It is information is there, but it is spread.
Yes.
So that's
your
why
training document is pretty good.
Yeah, you see here, step by step, one by one, all these documents are prepared so that they can easily understand the business process, right? You can see what are the purchasing documents, and then purchasing documents are divided into two parts: header and individual item detail, right? And what are the account assignment category, significance, right? And different all are included so that people get clear understanding.
Okay.
And this is from S4HANA.
Okay.
Yeah, this is from S4HANA point of view. Yeah. Yes. Anyone? Any other question? So from our side, you people get two customized books. One is a general related to SAP, where SAP business processes, business suite, SAP user interfaces, technical aspects, and another book purely related to purely related to So from that point of view, we have made this one. Yeah. So let me address another question from participant. Is this module different from EWM? Yes, of course, because EWM is extended warehouse management module, and it is used for warehouse management. And it is for materials management module, which is used in the procurement department. So for every department, there are different modules we have. Like for accounts, we have FI module. Yes, it is different from EWM. So this is the question from Mr. Narayan. Yeah, I believe that answers your question. Yes.
So in HANA, can we have just WM and not EWM, or EWM is a mandatory?
No, actually, EWM is not mandatory. It's up to the business which module they would like to use, because logistics execution is still available here, right? So we can even use the WM here. So it's as per our requirement, but WM will be obsolete soon, like ECC. So it will be obsolete soon. So the existing clients will be migrating to EWM.
EWM, okay.
Yeah.
So is it okay? You are not going to cover that EWM, right?
No, here during our inventory management topic, we will see how the inventory management can be done by using MMIM and by using
Okay,
WM or EWM. So that brief we will be discussing.
okay. Yeah, actually, I
Yeah.
took the EWM training in the year 2020. I took it.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. Right. So brief, because this training is all about MM, so our main focus will be on MM.
Okay.
Right.
So, sir, do you provide certification material?
The training syllabus and the study material which we have prepared, it is as per SAP certification. Okay.
Okay.
So after successful completion of the training, and if you refer the documents, so it will be easy to clear the exam, because most of the participants who appeared for the exam after training, they scored more than 85%.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because you see here, if you look at our comprehensive documents, you will definitely find something different.
Okay.
The way we have designed our books,
Mm-hmm.
so that help participants to understand the logic and the business processes.
Okay.
Because in the certification exam, of course, it is testing it actually with different scenarios. We will have the questions, right? So if we have good clarity about the business process and the functionality, then even if the question is not straightforward, we can answer it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So let's conclude this demo session here. And in case if anyone has question, then I can address it. Otherwise, we can conclude a session here. All right. So thank you very much for attending today's session, and look forward to offer our best services to the participants. So thank you. Thank you very much.